I've never liked mirrors. I don't mean in the dramatic self-loathing way. I mean, I always had a sense that something was wrong on the other side. That if I stared long enough, I'd see something move that shouldn't, or blink when I didn't. I avoided them whenever I could, especially at night. A few months ago, my bathroom mirror began fogging, strangely. Even when the shower hadn't run. I'd wipe it down, and a faint handprint would appear beside mine. Smaller and slightly lower, like a child's. I convinced myself it was leftover residue, some oily mark I hadn't cleaned properly. But over days, it became more pronounced, clearer, fresher. One night, around 3 a.m., I went to the bathroom after waking suddenly from a nightmare I couldn't remember. The mirror was fully fogged, as if someone had taken a boiling shower moments earlier. I wiped a stripe down the middle, and in the smear of my own cleaning, I saw my reflection. But it wasn't doing what I was doing. It was standing perfectly still, staring directly at me, while my hand was still mid-wipe. I froze. Time stretched. My chest tightened, and I had the overwhelming instinct to run, but some equally powerful force kept me rooted. My reflection's face shifted, not drastically, just slightly wrong, a smile forming one side at a time. I stumbled backward and left the bathroom light on all night. When I returned in the morning, the mirror was normal again. I tried to rationalize it. Lack of sleep, tricks of light, stress, anything other than what it felt like, that something on the other side had noticed me. I avoided mirrors for days, but it kept happening. I'd see my reflection blink a second after I did. Its lips twitch independently. Once, when I glanced quickly while brushing my teeth, I swear its head snapped sideways with a crack that didn't match anything I did. I kept the bathroom light on constantly, thinking maybe whatever was happening needed darkness. But one morning when I turned the corner half awake, the light was off. And in the dimness, I heard breathing inside the bathroom. Not my own. Slow, wet, heavy. I backed away as quietly as I could and hid in my bedroom, terrified. Hours passed. Eventually, I had to check again. The bathroom light was on now. But when I stepped inside, the air was ice cold. The mirror was fogged. And this time, there was writing. Let me out. The words were written backwards so they appeared normal when viewed in the reflection. I stared at them until I felt dizzy. And then I saw it, my reflection, standing behind the fog. Just barely visible, its eyes too wide, pupils too large, smile stretching impossibly far. I reached toward the mirror without meaning to. Something inside me felt compelled, like a string pulling my hand forward. The glass felt warm to the touch, warmer than a human body should be. And then something pressed back. A fingertip, then a hand, then a palm matching mine on the other side of the glass. That broke whatever trance I was in. I ran. I covered the mirror with a bedsheet, hammered nails into the wall to keep it pinned. But every morning the sheet is disturbed, pulled slightly aside, or hanging unevenly, as if someone peeked from underneath it. Last night, I heard tapping, soft at first, then louder, faster, insistent. Then a voice, so faint I thought I dreamed it. Switch with me. I'm not sure how much longer I can stay in this house. The mirror isn't just reflecting anymore. It's watching, waiting, learning how to be me. And one night, when I'm tired enough or careless enough, I'm afraid I'm going to look into that fog and see no reflection at all.
I drive for work a lot. Long highway stretches, endless nights, towns where everything closes by 9 p.m. I used to find it peaceful. Now I dread every mile I drive after sunset. It started 3 weeks ago when my car's backseat sensor malfunctioned. Or so I thought. It's the little light that turns on when something heavy is on the rear seat, groceries, luggage, a person. I got in my car around midnight after finishing a job and saw the indicator glowing, back seat occupied. I turned around, nothing there. I slapped the seat a few times, trying to reassure myself it was the sensor. The light stayed on. I drove anyway, telling myself my anxiety was worse than the malfunction itself. 20 minutes later, I heard the distinct sound of fabric shifting behind me, a seat spring compressing, that soft, subtle weight of someone leaning forward. I checked the rearview mirror instinctively, and the glass fogged at the bottom corner, like breath hitting it. I nearly drove off the road. I pulled over, turned on every light in the car, checked under the seats, opened the trunk. Nothing. No animals. No bags. No intruders. But the moment I got back in and closed the driver door, back seat occupied lit up again. I drove home with the lights on the whole way. Over the next few nights, the sensations grew stronger. First, the faint sound of knuckles brushing fabric, then breathing, shallow, irregular, as if coming from someone very sick. Once, I swear I heard quiet humming, half a tune, low and tuneless, like a lullaby forgotten mid-melody, that I stopped using the mirror entirely. Last Friday, I got in the car after a late shift and immediately felt a heaviness in the air, a pressure behind me, like someone leaning very close. My skin prickled, my eyes watered, and every instinct screamed at me to run. But where was I going to go? My house was 30 minutes away. I started driving. After a few miles, something brushed the back of my neck, cold, deliberate, like fingertips. I jerked forward. The car swerved. I tried to steady it, but the whisper came next, right behind my ear. Don't leave me. My vision blurred. I couldn't breathe. Every hair on my arm stood straight. I slammed the brakes, pulled over, and practically threw myself out of the car. The back door creaked open on its own. Inside, on the middle of the seat, was a handprint. Small, child-size, pressed into the fabric as if someone had leaned with all their weight. I left the car there on the roadside. Walked home in the dark. The tow truck guy dropped it off 2 days later. He said everything looked normal. I didn't argue, but last night, as I walked past the driveway, the interior lights flicked on by themselves. My dashboard dinged, back seat occupied then. Slowly, driver's seat occupied was standing outside the car. No one was in the driver's seat. Nothing visible. Anyway, I'm scared to touch the door handle now. I think whatever rode with me isn't trying to scare me anymore. I think it's trying to get out, to sit where I sit, to go where I go. To drive me home.
I have one rule in my apartment. I do not go into the spare room after dark. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but after what happened, I won't even cross the hallway when the sun's down. I keep the door shut, locked, and covered with a blanket tacked across the frame. Doesn't matter if the heat gets trapped or the door swells from humidity. I'd rather that than the alternative. The first night I moved in, the room felt strange. Colder than the rest of the apartment. I figured it was drafty insulation or the window seal. But the cold wasn't normal cold. It felt like standing next to an open freezer. But without any airflow, just a presence. The second night, I woke up to the sound of breathing, slow, deep, like someone sleeping. The sound wasn't coming from my room, but through the shared wall behind my bed, the spare room. That shouldn't have been possible. The spare room was empty. I knocked on the wall. The breathing stopped instantly. Then, a knock came back, 3 taps. Soft, deliberate. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. The next morning, I opened the spare room door. The air inside was freezing again. My breath turned white. There was nothing in there except bare walls and the floorboards. I checked the window, the vent, the outlets. Nothing explained the cold or the sound. I moved my bed to the other side of the room. Things stayed quiet for about a week. Then came the scratching, not like mice. I've had mice before. This was slow, careful, like fingernails dragging across wood. Sometimes it lasted minutes, sometimes hours. I tried playing music to drown it out, but the scratching got louder, as if annoyed. One night, around 3 a.m., I heard something new, footsteps, soft, padded, moving inside the spare room, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I pressed my ear to the wall, even though fear had my stomach twisted. The walking stopped, and all I heard was breathing again, louder this time, standing right behind the wall, as if leaning its weight against the plaster. I whispered, "Hello." The breathing stopped, then it spoke. A breathless whisper pressed through the wall, "Let me in." I ran out of the apartment and didn't return until the sun was fully up. When I finally went back inside, the spare room door was open. I know I locked it. I checked the bolt 3 times before bed. Now it was ajar by a few inches, like something had eased it open from the inside. I closed it, locked it again, and pushed a dresser in front of it. That only made things worse. That night the footsteps became pacing, agitated, heavy, thudding against the wall hard enough to rattle picture frames. My headboard vibrated. I moved to the couch, but even there I could hear the room's low, steady breathing through the hallway. Around dawn, the pacing stopped. I peeked down the hall. The blanket I'd hung over the spare room door was rising and falling, as if someone behind it was inhaling deeply, exhaling slowly, trying to smell the air, trying to sense me. I don't think it likes the barrier. I think it wants me to open the door, wants to show me what's inside. The breathing has changed recently. It's closer now, right up against the door. Sometimes the blanket sucks inward, pulled by a long inhale. And sometimes, late at night, I hear faint scratching at the lock, like it's learning how to pick it. I'm looking for a new place, but every time I pack a box, the thing in that room becomes active, pacing, slamming, breathing louder, as if it knows I'm leaving. Last night, I found something new. The spare room key, the one I keep hidden in a drawer, was lying on the hallway floor, right in front of the door. It wants me to unlock it, and I'm afraid that, if I don't leave soon, one night I'm going to hear the lock turn from the other side.